Sit back, relax, and enjoy.
What's going on, y'all? It's your girl, DJ Kiggy.
And this is Dirty Chris.
And this is the Scratch Theory of Texas podcast. What is going on, y'all? It's your girl, DJ Kiggy.
And Dirty Chris.
And this is the Scratch Theory of Texas
podcast, episode number
3, man. We gotta get a clap for that. No,
Oh, wait.
No. Oh, there it is. There we go. We gotta clap for that.
New buttons.
Yeah,
I deserve
man.
this.
But yes, that's what it is. Yeah, man. So Chris, man, talk to me, man. How was your weekend?
Oh, man, I had a great weekend. I DJ'd this weekend at Moonlight with our producer for today,
Hey,
DJ RLE in the house.
Beep, 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 beep.
I'm pretending there's producer buttons back here.
Yeah,
I actually have him over here.
there you got him.
But no, we had a lot of fun. We did a Latin night / hip hop night, but it was freaking hot, man. It was hot. I was literally grabbing ice from the beer tub girl, going all over my pelona and shit, and it was still fucking hot.
No.
How was yours?
Man, mine was really good. I just got back in yesterday from Houston. Shout out to Wepa Party Houston. Shout out to Agbat. DJ Roses, man. They invited me out there to play. Originally, I was going over there to go see Jill Scott.
Right.
I love Jill Scott. Have been following her since day one. And so we were out there. But yeah, man, got the invite to go play. And it was a wild party. So shout out to Houston, Texas.
Yeah.
Shout out to Wepa. Shout out to
Houston hat right here. Houston hat.
Hey, shout out to H-Town. Shout out to my best friend too, man. One thing I always say, man, especially in this industry, you got to have a circle with you, or even if it's just one person in that circle, that's always your ride or die, man. So shout out to my best friend in Houston.
Hell yeah.
But without further ado, y'all, we have a very, very, very special guest, personal friend of ours, personal friend of the podcast. We've got the one and only Diggy Dutch, y'all. I'll make some noise for him one time. Woo.
Pictures.
It's all right. They owed me a favor. That's how I got on here.
Yeah, man.
What's going on, Diggy? What's going
It's the
on?
only way I can get on. Oh, good, man. Been busy weekend, always busy. I do a bunch of shows a week. So this week's been in particularly tough just because of the heat that came into Texas.
Oh, I hear that.
Oh, man.
I really wonder how people from California are doing. Y'all all right? Because we try to tell y'all, don't come over here.
Check in, Cali. Check in.
Yeah, y'all doing okay?
Yeah, I hope they're okay. They're on life support.
Yeah.
Me and Diggy were actually just saying, like, how do other cities do this? Like, with this
we
heat?
were.
Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I wonder, like, I guess other states too, per se, but like how bad we get the heat, especially just down here in the South.
Yeah.
Florida might get it, and things like that, but just the humidity that's out here is just horrible.
It's crazy.
I did a pool gig at the Proper Hotel on Sunday. It's a new one for me, new residency until Labor Day.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it's super cool, super nice. It feels don't take this wrong. It feels a little culty only because of what we have to wear. So there's dress attire because they have a really cool ambiance to the place and aesthetic to it. So we wear a lot of earth tones and stuff. And they're like, okay, well, there's kind of a loose dress code on like coloring of clothes that you should wear to kind of match the aesthetic. I was like, all right, dope. But it's really cool because what I'm wearing today, I wear a lot of linen and stuff anyway. So I fit the
It was right in. It was
perfectly.
natural. It was
That's
natural.
cool.
Yeah, the hostess goes, when do they initiate you into our cult? I was like, what do you mean? She goes, you're dressed exactly like us. You're one of us now.
Super cool, man.
But-
Now, Diggy, we know you. We know what you can do on these turntables. We know you run up and down Rainy Street and all around Austin, Texas. You placed third in Redbull's 3-style DJ battle competition a few years back. But for the people that don't know you, man, talk to us, man. Who is Diggy Dutch? What have you been up to? What are your plans coming up? Talk to us, man. Introduce yourself.
I'm just a little old kid from Northwest Houston.
H-Town in the building.
Another H-Town mention. Hey.
Yeah. Now, man, born and raised from out there, man. I've been around for a long time. I enjoy this. I enjoy this realm of work and what I've been doing. I kind of just fell into it. I was producing for years, things like that. But no, man, I love it. I love what I do. I've been like I said, I'm in Austin for about. That was a long question. I was like, which one am I going to go to right there?
You good?
No, we want to hear it, brother.
But no, I'm from Houston and born and raised out there, man. I really loved it. Got around, real great culture of music out in Houston, where I'm from. I'm from the Northwest, so I'm from the suburbs.
Yeah.
So when people go, man, you from H? I was like, I'm from there,
yeah,
but I'm not from inside the loop. I'm from outside the loop. I got real lucky and fortunate growing up where I did, with some really great friends and great community and stuff like that. But it was a real eclectic taste of music growing up. But we were very much in that era of time in the Swisher House and mixtape days. Yeah. So we were going to Trader's Village, all that stuff, getting it with the color changing seal. If it ain't, man, you're faking it, bootleg. But so I grew up on hip hop and all those things, and that's really how DJing started for me. And as far as music wise and what I liked, I was producing hip hop and for artists in college and stuff like that. I worked at Apple for a little bit at the store and just started accumulating all the stuff that's in the back stock that they're selling for cheap. So I created a whole studio. I didn't have a bed in my apartment. I slept on the couch. My whole bedroom and closet were my studio. Yeah. So when I get into something, I get into it. And DJing kind of happened that way, where I wanted to learn how to scratch. Just on top of my records, just a sample of some sort. Right. And so I bought a Newmark turntable, little old beaten up turntable, and a Newmark mixer, and learned, just learned how to cut on acapellas. Like I was, there wasn't a lot of YouTube at that time.
Yeah,
it was back in 2008, so it was around, but not really.
Right.
I learned a lot from the Scratch Pickles and all the DVDs and stuff like that that Qbert put out. I have a bunch of them at the crib.
The DMC battles and
So I would watch those and so I played guitar and being from Houston and stuff like that. Like if you're from Houston, you've been to a H-Town house party, you know where it ends up. Ends up in the garage, ends up with a beat, and everybody's freestyling all night.
Oh hell yeah!
So I've been doing that since I was a little one. I was trying to throw in my Spanish. I got no words right there to say it. But no, since I was little, so I always had a really cool and natural cadence, I felt.
Yeah.
So when I started cutting, I just remember the first time I ever really cut on techniques. I was at this DJ's house in San Antonio that was kind of wanting to be my mentor, kind of like my first like DJ kind of buddy. But we went there and he had a fresh pair of techniques out the box. Like took them out, like that smell though. Oh, it smells so good.
That's how I feel about buying Jordans.
It's the same exact.
I won't smell them a month later.
After a few gigs.
Exactly.
But man, we were there. And
that's exactly what the smell sounds like. Like
it comes out.
But we were, we were cutting at his crib and I started cutting, and I didn't know how to phrase, didn't know how to do nothing. And I would just move the fader how I felt, and he stood back and he goes, "How the fuck did you do that?" I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "How'd you make it sound like that?" He goes, "Like, I've been DJing for 10 years or whatever. I can't." I was like, "I'm just cutting to make a sound like I would if I was freestyling."
Right.
So when I cut and things like that, I have a lot of questions because I used to teach at Dub Academy and things. So I'm really good at teaching people how to DJ and the fundamentals and the base of everything and the real great foundation kind of ideas on how to transition and things. But as far as cutting I don't even know how I do it a lot of the time. It's very much.
You're good at it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, for those of y'all that have not seen him, he is really good at scratching. I remember the first time I moved here to Austin and I had reached out to you and I was like, "Man, can I just stop by at like one of your gigs? I just want to watch it." And I was just there like,
yeah.
Man, how many years ago was this?
3 years ago.
3 years
and a half.
ago,
Well, actually, maybe going on 4 now.
Because you moved here, right?
Yeah. And I remember just standing behind you. You were at, what was it? I don't know if it was Parlor Room. Maybe it was Parlor Room.
It might have been.
Parlor Room. But I was just standing there like, I can't do this shit. I quit. I'm walking. I was like, well, it was nice meeting you. Thank you for being open to letting me watch you.
I'm out.
And I'm out. And I started packing my bags and left to San Antonio. I'm just kidding. But no, go ahead, man.
No, it's cool. That's kind of how it all kind of started. And my dad was even the one. He was like, "Man, like you should try Avenue and DJing." And years and years later, like 10, I've been doing this 16 years now, fully and full time. And I learned maybe like 3 years ago. I would tell the story all the time. I was like, man, my dad gave me some money. You know, he's like, hey, here's like $300. Go to Guitar Center, get what you need to start DJing.
Wow, that's a good dad, right?
Yeah,
Hell
man. He's like, this isn't a loan. This is for you. Like, I believe in my dad's one of the best people in the world.
Awesome.
He's my biggest fan. Him and my
Shout out
mom
to Dad.
are my biggest fans. Yeah,
That's cool.
It was Father's Day yesterday.
Happy belated Father's Day. I was
Yeah.
gonna say that.
Happy belated Father's Day, Chris,
Yeah.
and to your
Oh,
dad
peace,
and
peace.
Arlie.
Arlie.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hey, your dad. I love your dad. I love watching your
Oh,
dad.
my dad's something else, man.
Shout out to June.
Yeah.
But no, so he was like, you know, and in my head I was like, man, he really believed in me. He's like,
Yeah.
you got this. I can see it in you. You told me years later, it's like, no, I thought it was a really good, easy way to make some money to start out. a good quick turnaround. And I was like,
Damn.
motherfucker. He goes, but it ended up good 16
Hey.
years later.
Heck
There you
yeah.
go.
So, but no, it's been super interesting ride all the way through because I came in with, you know, I've been, like I said, 16 years. So about half of those, 7, 8 of those was all on my own. I had no DJ buddies really in San Antonio where I started my career.
Yeah.
At UTSA, I got real lucky with some friends that let me start doing frat parties. And then I just brought some records to a class by accident that I picked up, some control records. The guy in front of me was the new GM of a bar right down the street from the school. And he's like, hey, are you a DJ? I was like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, man. Because I'd been in sales and stuff before. And
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, man, I do all the stuff for the fraternities and I've done this.
You sold it.
I'd done 2 parties at that time. 2 parties.
You
Fake
weren't
it till you
lying
make
though.
it.
I
You
was
weren't
like,
lying
I
though.
do all I just upped it up,
Fake it till
upsell the
you
shit
make
out of it. and I sent a mixtape in and I still have that somewhere and I've heard it a bunch of times. I was like, it wasn't that great. But this guy, Gabe Cano, I owe him everything because he saw something in me through that and just gave me a shot.
Yeah.
And I was doing once a week. And then by the end, right toward the end of the closing of that place, I was doing 3 nights a week for them.
Oh.
During college. And at that point, once they closed, I kind of opened up and went everywhere. But I was really, really fortunate just for things to align the way they needed to. Because I never expected it to do that.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of people a lot of young cats like, how do I get in? I was like, fuck, man, I got really lucky just kind of that. And we're all Latinos here. We work our asses off. So once I got in, I didn't stop working. And I studied. I was working on mixes in the middle of school when I was in college. I was like, in between classes, I was watching, short clips on YouTube that were there, of AM when he was still alive.
Yeah.
This is right before his passing. So this is when he was was it Rio in Vegas? And they had almost like trailers of them. And I would just watch those religiously. I can do all those little mini routines within it. I can do every one of those out of the top of my head.
Wow.
Wow.
I
studied it.
I just studied.
Yeah.
I think maybe most of us, but I can do the Peter Piper routine from
Oh man, I
Jazzy.
tried. Nah.
Oh man.
I don't think I've ever attempted it. So
I don't even know what that is. I need to see it. Yeah, no. I
Yeah,
need to
Oh
see
yeah.
that.
DJ Jazzy Jeff has this routine with the Peter Piper.
Oh,
yeah.
that, yes. No,
Yeah.
okay.
Right.
Yeah, no.
No, exactly. Yeah.
No.
Once I'm not. doing
I can start the record for y'all. Y'all have at it.
So at what point, since we're kind of going into the routine stuff, at what point did you say I'm good enough to make a routine?
Ooh, that's a good question. Trying to think. Well, the first one I ever did, I got into competitions. I was in San Antonio and I got real lucky. We went to Sunset Station, which is a beautiful venue in San Antonio. Oh, y'all know it.
Yeah.
I actually rapped there
Shut up.
a long time ago. In that quinceañera picture I showed you.
What was your MC name?
It was Inky Skills because I would write. I'd had a fat journal of just raps.
I would have thought you were Peruvian or something.
So, yeah, but yeah, that was a long time.
That's
So yes,
good.
I do.
I love that venue.
Very familiar with
I've done a
Sunset
lot of
Station.
things at that venue over the years in San Antonio, just throughout my early career. But I went with a buddy of mine. I forget. It might have been my buddy Enrique. Shout out Enrique and his new daughter.
Yeah.
And but happy Father's Day to him too. Yeah. But I want to say it was with him, I believe. But we went and they were putting on a Redbull event there, and it ended up being the first year of Three Style, and it was because they did local, citywide, then regional, and there was a lot more tiers to go up. And so this is the first entry, and I know one of the guys. It was Vegas Banger, M3, and I forget the other M3. I think that's what he goes by or went by, and he was really dope. But I saw that and I was just mesmerized. I was like, yo, like just the idea of trying to mix this stuff. And this is before Zach and all those guys really redefined everything. This is super early on. And
in the infancy stages.
Pretty much like nobody knew exactly what wanted.
Yeah, because I know when I first heard of three, I was like, they got to blend like 3 different genres and all this stuff. And I'm like,
the rules are simple.
How does that kind of work? Like I can know what it says, but then I started seeing some and I'm like, oh.
Yeah. I can imagine it's something like super unique and complex as opposed to playing like open format.
Yeah.
You know, you can go from like reggaeton to rock or something if the BPMs are there. But walk us through that. Like how is that when you have to have like these 3 different genres so fast?
My mental on it is really, I don't know if it's strange or different because I don't talk to a ton of people. I haven't talked a ton creatively. Get that mic right. Talk creatively with a bunch of guys on that process, which is an interesting conversation to have because it's hard to have because it's hard to explain in detail or kind of what goes in your mind. Of it. It's like, I guess it'd be like asking like a hip hop writer or an artist, like, how do you write? How does this painting come out of your head?
You gotta brainstorm it.
Yeah. And for me, it's, I always start, anytime I'm building a routine, I start with the beginning and I start with the end. And for me, I try to, and over the years, it's kind of evolved and all those things, but it's always the beginning and end. So I do it sequentially. I think that's right. Is that correct? But it's in order.
Right.
So I work from, when I build sets, I work from the beginning all the way to the end.
Yeah.
Never in between.
Okay.
Or jumping back and forth. So I might have, there's been a few routines that I've had that I have mini spec routines, tiny routines from when I'm out and about that come up. Yeah. That I'll place in there. I'm like, oh, this goes. So now
makes sense.
Now where I'm at when I'm DJing out and doing I guess you would call it open format. It's always, everybody's weird about that term or how they feel about it. I don't mind it. Open format for me is I play just whatever I want. Right. I make different genres work together and flow together. And the way I do that now, I just have it's like a bunch of pieces of a puzzle. So I have all these pieces I can just fill in all the way through the night. I was like, all right, if I see a bridal party walking in, I was like, all right, I'm at 110. Well, I can play this to go to this, and then it'll put me in this range. And then I can do all the Sierra and Beyonce and all that. Then I'll end that one on here. Well, Beyonce ties into Jay-Z because they're married. Well, then Jay ties into such and such. And
you just start connecting stuff together.
It'll trickle down. One of the first times I ever did it, before I ever created a battle set or anything like that, I was in San Antonio at the Boiler Room, and I couldn't think of what I wanted to play then. I was mainly a hip-hop DJ. I guess you would call it. My genre what primarily was hip-hop that I was used to at that time early on. And I went from... I started on the West Coast. Started West Coast hip hop, and at 10, and by 2 a.m. I was in New York and ending in New York.
So you curated a whole thing
all the way off the top of my head. I curated. This goes to this. This connects to this. This guy connects to this. Boom, boom, boom. This boom, 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 boom. This guy had beef with this guy, and it kind of flowed that way. Because if you. Like to me, you play 50, you automatically think of Kanye. At least my era, because being around in college, that battle that happened between their albums. If I play Pac, I know somewhere I'm going to backdoor it with Biggie, one way or another. So it's I have these ways of doing it, but with battle routines, I start from the beginning and I get to the end. But the beginning to me is always, I think, what is it? Boy Genius says it is like what does he call it? It's like first song crew or, but it's the power of the first song that you choose.
Like a first impression type?
Yeah. Like it's, you need to make sure whatever your first song is.
Captivate them. Like,
boom. Yeah. You got to slap them in the face real hard and capture their attention. And I learned from a lot of cats. I learned from him a lot and kind of his mentality of it because we're the same person, but two sides of the same coin. Yeah, we're very different, but very, very much alike.
Shout out to Boy Genius, man.
Shout out to Boy
Town,
Jay,
man.
That boy, that guy. But yeah, building those routines. It's watching other guys and kind of seeing what they had done. And so what I had done, I by that time in 2015 is when I finally got invited to. It was when they opened it up for what do you call it, submissions. And so I finally submitted. It finally came open because it wasn't a buddy club, but it was more of who you knew.
Invite only
For the first few years, from what I remember, because it was cats on the ground crews. They wanted the best, so it was it wasn't like they were putting their friends on. These guys had to really freaking play, so it was just kind of who you knew, and so that's how I kind of got seen because I was still doing. I'd been working already for 8 years, but I'd done a lot of local stuff in San Antonio. I hadn't really done anything big enough to capture my name in a national sense. Anything online or anything like that. So the first little battles that I had ever done, I was in college and it was like at a pool party. Yeah. And it was to win. It was to win like free, like basically enough for free rent.
Oh,
and,
nice.
Man,
and I remember that battle because I came in ready and I was like, all right, and I had really worked on this routine. Of this kind of, it was kind of a talking shit routine. So everything kind of talks shit. It didn't go the way I do now, where everything kind of flows a little bit more. But that was the first one, and I won. But I remember a little side note about it. I remember there was two, two parts. So you had your first part that you did. One guy got eliminated, and then you had one more, right? And so we did the first one, and I did really well. The crowd really liked it. So the guy after me came on. I don't think he's DJing anymore, but he went by DJ Gumby.
Gumby?
Yeah, nice dude.
How does that sound familiar?
Super familiar, right?
Yeah.
Nice guy. I don't have anything bad to say.
Hip-hop DJ?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what he did after San Antonio, but I knew he was doing a lot during college. So shout out to him. Nothing bad to talk about. But it was funny because I did my routine, then he did his, but he played more like a party set. Right, It was just a different way of going about a battle.
Sure.
And these people are managers of an apartment complex. They don't know what the fuck this shit is.
Yeah.
So he does his set, but while he's doing it, he has a guy on an MC, and on it and hyping up the crowd, and doing what Kick It does and hyping them up, getting them real good, good. I used to be able to do that. I'm not as energetic anymore, but he did that. So the crowd was really into it.
Yeah.
Given the guy was a really good MC. And so they go and it's getting late and they're like, hey man, do you want to go to the next round or we can just call it now? And I look at them, I go, fuck no, we ain't calling it. I go, no, we got one more round. Let's go. You scared?
Let's do it.
Were you scared though?
No. I already
That's
knew.
some shit I would say, like, let's fucking go. And then inside I'm like, God damn it, I don't want to go.
Yeah, well, I had prepared 2 routines.
Mom spaghetti.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah, exactly.
I prepared 2 routines, and the second routine I had more juggling in it, and I really wanted to do this, and that's more so why I wanted. I was like, man, I just want to fucking flex this shit that I've done. Under pressure. And I did it and I ended up winning. But I remember in that little meeting with the
you got your rent paid.
Yeah. He goes, I go, nah, man, let's do it. But I go, I thought this was a DJ competition, not an MC competition. Some shit like that. So he just DJ'd. And I think he was upset because he DJ'd like with one arm, like he was just kind of like this the second round. And I was like, all right. Like I wasn't being meaner. I was just being legit. I was like, I thought this was a DJ competition.
Yeah.
But that was the first one, and I won, and I was like, "Oh shit, this feels really good."
Yeah.
And from there, I kind of got that that itch for it. So when I saw Redbull at Sunset Station, I was with my buddy. I was like, "This is what I want. This is my goal. My goal is to do this shit, and to compete and win." And I remember because I don't know if y'all have ever been to Redbull events, but they used to give you the bands that it was kind of like a festival wristband, right? That it, locked on. I wore that motherfucking thing for 9 years, 8-9 years.
Really?
Wow.
Was it 8-9 years, something like that. I wore it until I got invited to play in 2015 in the regional.
Wow.
So from the first event I ever went to, I wore that thing on my wrist, religious.
You weren't going to take it off until the next one.
I'm not super superstitious, but like I believe in like what do you call it? Believe it,
like energies. And,
Put it into fruition.
No, I get you. You.
And so when I competed in 2015, that's when I put in over about a month and a half of work into that set in 2015 when I battled. That's how I got into Austin. I battled La Di Da. I battled the one and only Buck Rogers. And a few other cats.
Those are big names, though.
Yeah. And I didn't know it at that time either, and I didn't know how La Di Da was and all that. And battled OG Bobby Trill out of Houston. But a bunch of really great cats. Yeah. And the coolest thing about that competition, I was in New Orleans in 2015. we all became buddies. We all became friends, except like me and the guy from one of the guys from New Orleans, 2 guys from New Orleans, 2 guys from Austin, me, and then there was one other, I forget, but we all became really close.
Yeah.
I was bringing everybody together. I was very family oriented.
Were you living in New Orleans though?
No.
Because I was watching a video of yours and you had a routine in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Was it a boxing ring?
Yeah. So that's my buddy's boxing ring.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So
What the hell?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we did it. So it's at New Orleans Boxing Club. Shout out my boy Chase Dixon.
I'm just saying I watched this video because I'm a fan.
Yeah.
That's dope.
I've watched.
I have
videos.
not seen that one.
Yeah.
He stalks me.
Okay. All right, Stan.
It's funny you say that because I got to show you something. This is how I met you.
Holy shit.
Let me see
He
those.
doesn't even remember
I
that.
know. No, I know
Oh,
that night.
wow.
I know that night.
Yeah, it was a crazy night at
Yeah.
Peligrosa.
Yep. I was gonna say that was the night I got.
Yeah.
No mustache or no mustache,
no,
no beard,
no.
nothing.
For him, I had the beard at the
Yeah,
time.
Yeah. Wow.
No, I remember that. I
Yeah.
remember that specifically because I remember that night because I got in trouble that night.
Oh shit.
I got in trouble because I was supposed to work at where's placeholder now, but it was Alibi, and it was right when my first gig I ever got there. Dick Nixon had booked me for it. He was doing the booking at the time, and he had booked me for it, and I'm there, and I knew Craze was playing with Peligrosa, and I really wanted to fucking see him because I don't know if I had met him prior to that or talked to him because I'd done Redbull already, and so I knew Zach. Like briefly, we knew of each other,
Acquaintances.
Yeah. Well, I've gotten to know him a little bit better. We're not close friends or buddies or anything, but we'll tell jokes to each other every now and then. He's in town or say hi, kind of thing. Have real heavy mutual respect. So I'm at Alibi and I'm like, all right, man, Crazy is gonna go on in this hour. So I hit up and we were slow at that night. This is like I think it was a Wednesday. No, it was maybe
No, it was a Friday.
It was a Friday.
Fridays,
It was Friday, yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a Friday and it was slow. So I hit up my buddy Will Emery, shout out Mr. E, Sad Boys crew.
Yeah.
And I hit him up. I was like, hey, can you come cover the second half of this? I want to go over here because I think we're going to close. And so I was told like we were going to close early, like at 12, because it was just so slow. So I left. I went to the show and Mr. E covered for me. He's like, hey, they're going to have me keep going. Like some people showed up. I was like, all right, go ahead. I had somebody there. I got in trouble with Dick Nixon. He's like, man, I booked you and then you just left and everybody. And we're all good now, but he very valid in what
The professional part of it.
He was extremely valid in what he was saying, and it's all very, very true, and it was very unprofessional of me to do it. But I was like, it's fucking crazy though. Like it's crazy. Like but the cool thing was I caught the tail end of a set, which was really dope. And then the boys went on, the Grossa crew went on. And he was standing to the back right of the stage. And I kind of just snuck my way over there and said what's up to him. And I think he had recognized me through the stuff through Redbull because it had just recently happened. Hence why I was always wearing my big hat. It was very recognizable. And dude, we talked for a good 45 minutes, like just about everything. Yeah. Like about life, about his kids, like just about anything outside of DJing. We talked a little bit about DJing, but I didn't want to talk about it much. Yeah. And so it was super, super dope. But I got in trouble that night because of that. But I remember seeing you that night. That's night, hilarious.
That night was I think it was a life-changing night for me. Yeah. Because I had already been in Austin for a little bit, but I wasn't actively DJing because I had just moved. I was getting a job and my kids in school and everything. In fact, I didn't even have DVS at that point.
No shit.
Yeah, because I was so against DVS when it first came out, and I used Newmark CDXs and I put MP3 discs. I was like, I'm not going to use a fucking computer. So anyways, I didn't have DVS at that time, but then I started seeing videos and all this stuff, and I came across your videos. And then I was following Crazy shit, and then that he was going to be in Austin, and I was like, oh, cool. He's like, he's going to be at Peligrosa. I had no idea what Peligrosa was. Nothing.
Oh, so you had no idea?
No, I had no idea.
Oh, shit.
I had no idea. So I was just like, I told my wife, I said, hey, DJ Crazy is coming to Austin. How fucking cool is that? She's like, whoa, let's go. I was like, yeah, sure. And she's like, where's he going to play? I said, at some Peligrosa place. I don't know what it is. Yeah. So she's like, okay, cool. So we went.
North Door at the time.
Yeah, it was at North Door. And then
North Door.
So we went, and they had him set up down at the bottom, kind of like boiler room style, right?
Underneath that big ass, that big screen, yeah.
And so, I mean, I was like, wow, because that was the first time that I had heard Chorizo Funk. That was the first time I had heard Chorizo Funk. And then I didn't know any of the other guys. His name stuck out because it's Chorizo Funk, right? So that name stuck out. But I was just so amazed at the music that they were playing. I had never, ever, ever heard music like that. Like I couldn't put my finger on it. I had no idea. And it's what we come to know as like Latin bass, tropical bass, because it's just got.
Is that what you would call it?
Well, that's what I've, with All Day Ray, I've been running with him and doing shit like that. And that's what we kind of labeled it as, and people call it global bass too.
I would say more. For me at that time, I would have said it was a little bit more global.
Yeah,
a little bit more worldly and global because with and I just wish I could see Chorizo Funk for the first time again.
Yeah, it was that
feeling
dope.
of seeing him for the first time and not knowing.
No, it was great.
But him and Orion.
Yeah,
because Orion plays like just super worldly music.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about them. And shout out to the rest of Peligrosa, Manolo Black, and King Louis.
Yeah, Pagano.
Yeah. Sussy's in it now.
Yeah.
Sussy.
Yeah, Sussy. I played with her not too long ago.
She gets wild, man.
But
really,
speaking of
when
Orion,
she plays, it's awesome.
Speaking of Orion, I've always known who he was, and I've always appreciated Peligrosa and all those guys. But I finally talked to him for the first time, like just recently, but I told him a story about the first time I actually talked to him. He was playing at what is it, Volstead?
Yeah. Volstead Saturday nights.
And this was like 2016, 2017, maybe. I to be honest, I can't remember, but I remember.
Oh shit!
That's when. And this is, it's funny because I told him this and he's like, oh yeah, I remember that. But it's when the bathroom would overflow.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
Oh, there's a constant there.
I experienced that.
I heard they fixed that, I think, maybe. But
Scotch tape.
It was that time where it would overflow. And I remember he was just killing it. He was DJing, he was doing his thing. And I was like, man, this guy is sick. And so I had went to the restroom and then he had come in right after me and I turned around. I was like, oh my God. And so it's funny because I'm a little lit at this point, and he's peeing, and I tap him on the shoulder, and I was like,
while he's peeing, bro.
Yeah. Bro, I'm telling you, it was that point. I was like, hey man, I just want to tell you that you're killing it. And he goes, thank you. And I was like, and I looked around, and I was like, wow,
I need to go.
All right, I'm gonna walk out now.
RLE is my favorite RLE because because he dances a ton. He's still super respectful, not wild, but he dances a ton.
Yeah.
And then he's real smiley and he talks to you. That's my favorite.
That was
That's
me
hilarious.
on Saturday night.
Yeah, that was him on Saturday.
Oh, I saw it when his tongue was out in those videos. I was like, oh, RLE had one or two.
Also, when Manny was part of Peligrosa, I don't think he is a part of it now, right?
I think
he comes every now and then. I wouldn't
say that he's not. I think he's just
doing something,
doing his thing.
Yeah, he has other things he's working on.
I told this to Orion too, and I guess nobody has ever connected the dots. But when I used to work at Rock and Roll Rentals, he'd come all the time.
Yeah,
and I was like, dude, this guy looks like Tony Stark. I swear to you, if you look at his face and you're like.
Orion,
wow.
You can, yeah.
No. Manny.
Oh, Manny, yes.
Yeah. To me, I'm like, he's like the
that's true.
Colombian, right?
It's the burns. It's his beard. He's very, very eclectic in how he dresses. We're very similar. In that way.
Yeah.
But his facial hair, his hair. He's big old glasses. He's one of my favorite spiritual people to hang around.
But that's what made me think of him as Tony Stark too, because he has the same mentality.
Yeah.
Type.
Nice.
When I told Orion that, he's like, dude, I'm gonna bring that up to him next time, and I was like, dude, I'm telling you, I see it every time.
Yeah. Man, well, big shout out to the Peligrosa crew, man, because evidently they have a huge influence in this town. So
they do. They've been around.
I still have yet to go to one. And,
really?
Well, because every time they have one,
very different now.
Yeah, it is.
I have a gig. I have something going on, so I have yet to be able to make it out to one. But
and from what I understand, even the parties that they did before the North Door were even crazier.
Yeah.
I've
heard that a lot too.
The North Door was. I'm trying to think if that was the first.
Because I think they were at Empire before that.
Yeah. So North Door was the first ones I attended.
Okay.
Because same thing. I was working a lot. So you just got to do what I do and just skip work.
Fuck it.
And get your buddy to cover and don't tell nobody.
Yeah.
And
Don't post anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. E, come cover.
Don't tag me on any posts.
But it's super. Shout out to Pagame.
Yeah.
That's the big homie, man. Pagame is the fucking G. Shirtless or sleeveless king, I call him.
Yeah, that's true. He's always on the sleeveless
no
shirt.
sleeves. Gotta let the guns out. But it's Peligrosa is amazing. They've evolved. I mean, this is just from what I'm seeing from the outside.
Right.
But it's very different now. At Coconut Club, not in a bad way or anything like that. It's just more spread out because there's so many rooms. They take over the whole place. So it's a very different experience than what it was at North Door, because it was all just boom. Right. You were right there. And so I can imagine how it was at the smaller places. Before that, while it was still.
And then my first time there.
Yeah.
And then I remember when they were doing the Peligrosa house, and they had like little setups, like as soon as you walked in, they had like a setup right there. Yeah. In fact, I think that was the first time I ever heard Akbad play. During
it might have been that.
Yeah. Akbad is a beast, man. This weekend I was playing with him, I was like, whoa. And he was like, I'm just showing off because Kick is here. I'm like, no,
his music,
I don't even want to go after you. Like, this is dope.
His music selection's
crazy.
I haven't heard him in a while. It's been a few years since I've actually got to hear him play. They brought me out for, I think it was Wepa, a while back.
That's what you did.
No, it was like Ayo Houston Parties, I think it's what it's called.
Houston Parties.
Houston Parties.
Yeah, I want to get it correct. Yeah. But yeah, they brought me out a while back in Houston. That's one of the very few times I've ever played in Houston. I don't play in my hometown almost ever. Really? I don't.
I don't play in San Antonio either. So.
I feel like I don't get a lot of love in Houston.
Same. See, not in Houston, San Antonio.
Yeah.
That's like
it's a weird thing. I don't have any hate toward Houston. I'm from Houston.
You gotta love.
I'll always be that. But like Austin embraced me a lot more. Right. San Antonio did. Houston's just a very, very difficult market to break into.
Wow.
And with respect to it, like it's from what I saw during that period of time, it wasn't that it was cliquish. It was the guys that did it. The booth pimps at that time were the biggest thing around. All those guys were on the radio.
Okay.
So it's like, okay, I have no fucking shot at getting gigs in Midtown or like the Real Pop or was it Washington Street. These guys,
the Heights kind of.
Yeah, when I was trying to make my way in Houston, this is after I left San Antonio and moved back to work for a radio station in Houston, just to do ad sales. I wasn't on the radio. I thought I could be. I got the voice. But no, I'm out there and dude, I was picking up gigs like in Sugarland. Like I picked up a gig in Sugarland.
Look at the outside.
Dude, every gig I picked up within a week. Booth Pimps was putting in a bid for that same night, same gig.
Wow.
I don't think they were coming after me by any means. I was nobody at that time. Or hadn't
you don't
really.
Think so?
I've always been somebody, but I was it just I hadn't made a blip in the mainstream eyes of online or anything because I hadn't done Red Bull. Red Bull really changed everything.
Right. But you had already done Red Bull by that time.
No.
Oh, okay.
No. This is prior. So to make my name and stuff like that, these guys knew of me. They respected me.
Right.
You know, they knew of what I could kind of do. I'm trying to think. Was it? It might have been right after Red Bull. No, maybe. No, I don't think it was. No, it was after Red Bull in 2015. Okay. Yeah, because that's how they kind of knew me. So that's why they put me. That's what you are right. You are correct on that. But you know, it was just really hard to get in anywhere and stay because I would lose everything. And they just had.
Why do you think that is though?
They had a bigger market. They had a bigger following because they were on the radio. They were their names were very, very well. T. Gray, all these great guys, you know, that were on 97.9 and 104. Like these guys were, the fucking city knew them. And Houston's very, very heavy on radio. At least I think they are still. But at that time, Austin, we're not like that. We got, you know, for me, it's KUTX. It's the UT station. That's what I love here. But in Houston, it's personalities. It's these DJs. So. It's kind of like Chicago and New York.
Radio heavy.
A little bit more bigger.
Chicago's very radio heavy.
Yeah. I learned that from Boy Genius. He was the one. Did he break Chance? He might have broke Chance. I think he got in trouble. I may be speaking wrong on that, but I think he broke Chance when he was covering on a radio station for a buddy, and I think he got in trouble.
Oh man!
With his buddy Timbuktu.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Timbuktu.
He's always repping Timbuktu.
Dog, that's his dog, man. But yeah, so Houston was just really hard to break into that market. So I was there for a while, did the stuff with Red Bull in 2015, met Abe the Assassin, who really took me under his wing.
Shout out to Abe.
Shout out to Abe, man.
Y'all should have him on here. He'd be an interesting one.
Oh, for sure.
Heck yeah.
He would tell you some fucking stories.
He came to he like popped up out of nowhere at the last cut session.
Yeah.
We looked over and we're like, hey, it's Abe.
Yeah. he's like a little slug. You don't see him, then he pops out of the corner.
He just like casually comes up. He's like,
what's up?
Yeah.
What's up,
Who
guys?
is Abe? He's cutting really good.
Yeah.
It's Abe.
He does this.
Yeah.
I was like, he still got it.
He still got it. But no, I met Abe, met all of them, and I just remember after doing the stuff at Redbull. So we did the video to kind of circle back to it. We did the video in New Orleans. It was at my buddy's place, the New Orleans Boxing Club. And for You Kick It, that ring, so we DJ'd in the ring.
That's so dope.
Yeah.
And
That's so cool.
that ring was Mike Tyson's ring.
Whoa.
Okay, nice.
Not only was it Tyson's ring, it was the ring that Tyson had his quickest knockout of his career in that ring. And
Interesting.
it's a small, so you know more, you know a lot about boxing, but it was a smaller ring. And the reason why is so he could run around and get away. I think it was smaller. Yeah, smaller. So he can move, so the opponent couldn't move around as much away from him. So he was in arm's reach every time. Kind of thing, but it was his quickest knockout was on that. I think it was like 30 seconds, 15 seconds, some shit like that, something crazy.
That's super cool.
But yeah, so that's what that ring is. But once we did that, so we all competed, and then I invited everybody to go there to do a cut because they were still doing TSL was still alive at that time, and so they were still doing all their cut videos, and I had watched their cut videos with Nick Knack and all that stuff. And Abe never. Abe never admitted that the video that they did for DJ City, the cut video, was at his lair. It was in his lair in his backyard.
It was?
Yeah. So I was always trying to figure whose fucking house were y'all at? Where were y'all at? By the end of it, by the time he moved all of his records out of there, I was like, this was the fucking place, wasn't it? He goes, yeah. And I go, 6 years,
true.
6 years, you don't tell me this?
Because I remember seeing like some old videos, like early videos. And
Alpha
it was like a
Leon
little
and a few
room. It was a little room, right? Yeah. So that's where they recorded it?
Yeah, I missed it. I hate the fact that you never got to see that shit. That shit was dope. We call it the lair, and it was in the backyard of Abe's house. It was this little built up back house, kind of little not guest house, but a guest room kind of thing that they had built and that he had built over time. And we would just go there every week and just cut and just chop it up. That was our home base for TSL. We would just go there all the time. When I moved here in 2015, so he opened arms up, allowed me into the city. Not allowed me, but welcomed me into the city. He's like, man, you need anything?
Yeah.
Come on through. And so I left where I was living in Houston with my buddy, packed up my car, moved to Austin, and I was sleeping out of my car for like 6 months.
Damn.
Wow.
About 4 or 5 months, about 5 months until I met the woman that I was with at the time, and I ended up starting to live with her basically out of my suitcase.
Yeah.
She was really kind enough. And I had my grandparents up north in Pflugerville. So I'd recently kind of moved up and had some stuff up there. But that travel back in time, and you know where we're at now.
Yeah.
From here to downtown, it's a drive.
It is.
And so I ended up staying with her for a while, for a few years and stuff like that. But yeah, I lived out of my car for a minute when I first moved to Austin just to try to make it. And
when was this?
This was 2015. 2015, that was in October, so probably early 2016.
Wow.
Right by that time. And
so my starting point, like knowing you, is the Red Bull when
15.
you won. So were you leaving out of your car at that time?
In 2015, when I was at Red Bull, no, I was in Houston. So I was living in Katy with my buddy, and it wasn't that I was broke or poor or anything like that, or any that whatever people would term. I don't like any of those terms, but it wasn't that. I just had no home.
Right.
And my place up north where my grandparents
Unhoused.
Unhoused.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I'll put it that way.
I was gonna
Like-
say I had a really nice car.
Yeah.
Hey, there you go.
No, I did not. No, I had a beat up Mitsubishi at that time. That shit was no. I had my. What did I have? I think I had my Mitsubishi or my little Jeep Liberty, my little fleet car I got from my dad's company for like $300.
Hey.
That's a bargain.
Hey,
Fuck
it
it.
worked.
Yeah.
It worked.
Yeah.
But no, I worked at Dub Academy for a little while and stuff like that. But yeah, Abe really embraced me.
Yeah.
And allowed me in. We got along really, really well. We have a lot of the same personality and characteristics, and very giving. And I would go with him to Handlebar on Sundays. R.I.P. Handlebar. It's now El Coq. But yeah, we go there on the rooftop on Sundays. Like a lot of this stuff's gone now. Like these things that we used to do.
Yeah.
So and we just festered. We kind of cultivated and wanted people to come and enjoy. And as far as other DJs and kind of create this culture, which I don't see as much here anymore. But like Sundays, you'd go. Everybody knew go see Abe, and he'll probably have you hop on.
Yeah.
And not with your computer. No, hey, I'm gonna take a pee. You hop on real quick. He'd be gone for an hour.
Damn.
And you're playing on his computer. And you're like, all right. And we would have a bunch of people and shit too on some nights. So it was really dope.
I did that to Columbo recently. Shout out to Columbo. He forgot his laptop charger at one of our Rock the Boat events at Lulu's. And he was like, well, I guess I'm only going to play however long 3% of my battery lasts. And I was like, dude. And so I was fucking with him. And I was like, you want to know how you're a real DJ? He's like, what? Chest all stuck out. I was like,
What'd you say?
I was like, you know, you're a real DJ if you could play off of someone else's laptop. He was like, whoa, whose laptop am I gonna play? I was like, mine's right there.
Yeah.
And he's like, for real? I was like, come on, let's see what you got.
You were putting him on the spot.
He was like, I said, come on, let me see what you got. He's like, for real, kick it, chest all out. I was like, hey, it's okay, dude. If not, I'll hop on. I got it. He's like, no, I'm gonna do it. Yeah, he played off my whole R&B craze. He's like, is your stuff organized? I was like, don't ask me questions.
I was about to say,
fucking search, bro.
I was like, just play this shit, man.
I was about to say, I was like, well, how organized is your crates? How easy did you make it for him?
It's all right.
So
it's okay.
Here's the question though. Couldn't you guys just fucking share the charger?
So he has a very old laptop.
That was the first thing I thought.
So I have this one that I got from G Nice. He has one that's like, I'm gonna fuck with him. It's like a 1998 something. I'm just kidding.
Hold on, you got your laptop from G Nice?
Yeah, I bought this one from him.
I got my laptop from G Nice.
This motherfucker's
G Nice
dealing.
is the plug. No, but he
really works for Apple, not Google.
Seriously, no. Columbo had a very old laptop. The chargers do not work, and he doesn't have an external charger. So I was like, well, there you go. He killed his set. But I was like, come on, man. Let's go.
But G Nice, why she got an M1? I got the Intel chip, man. Damn.
Oh man, we'll clip this. We'll send it to him.
Fucking hater.
I got Intel chips too, bro.
Oh man, I was just talking to RLE about that. I think I'm gonna have to drop about $4,000 on an M2.
It's crazy.
So
so that pool party, not pool party, but the pool brunch that I did, I had to stop 2 hours early, or 2 hours before, 2 hours in. My computer completely overheated.
Really?
And I had a fan on it, big old industrial fan on that hoe.
It's still overheated.
And had an umbrella on top. And it's Texas heat, and I shouldn't complain because the M2's out, and I should have fucking upgraded already. But it's time now. I was like, I can get through one more. But I will say this: I was thinking about it yesterday after he left, because we're looking at our CPU usage little bar.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, this is nerd talk. We can talk this shit. It's a
like
DJ,
CPU.
It's a DJ podcast. It's a DJ podcast. We can talk this shit.
Of course.
I keep having to remind myself that while I'm talking, I was like, no, okay, it's not talking too much about DJing. That's what this shit is.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's like, but no, so the CPU, I saw his is like maybe 25% green.
Yeah.
Right. I was like, that's dope. I'm 25% black. That's it. My shit's always all the way green.
Are you running stems though? Like,
yeah. So so this is what I figured out after you left. I was like, how can I, let me just mess with some settings and shit. Cause we were a little slower yesterday. So I turned off stems. I turned down the latency of buffing to 20, as slow as you can go. I don't have my high res,
the display. Yeah.
That's off. And then the audio buffering or whatever I put it super slow too, instead of fast. And by that time, and then I have the activity window thing you can do on your Mac. Open that up and I'm like, what is running? So because I do a lot of photography stuff on the side, Adobe Cloud is always running.
I see.
So I turned off all the Adobe stuff.
Right.
Everything else that wasn't just Serato or my Finder.
Yeah.
And I got to the 25% green.
Did your green go from like here to like
Yes.
Yeah.
Then while I'm playing, because I had stems off, so when you have stems turned off as far as analyzing, you can still run stems.
Yeah.
It just takes a little bit for it to analyze. Every time I would do that by accident because it's habit now, because of the way I mix with stems, it just changed everything. Yeah. When I did that, CPU went like just loaded up again. I was like, oh fuck. So I think I might know, like turning all that stuff off. I think I'll get away with this next Sunday.
Do you ever put because I don't do this, and I feel like I probably should because I am running stems like it's nobody's business. Do you put it in the stems crate? Because I heard that helps.
I have a few, which I probably should because
this is a good conversation because I'm learning. I
have put them in the stems crate, but I haven't.
So you're using stems too?
Yeah, but it doesn't do anything for me. I just keep it right
Yeah.
I'm the only one not using stems.
Yeah, no,
Kill the program.
it's dude. You're. I mean, there's been a bunch of reviews and all these things on it, so I won't go over it a bunch. But man, just the ability with stems on your blends, it just cleans it up.
I think it cleans it up
hardcore. Because like I blend, like turning it off yesterday. That last 2 hours of my set at Placeholder, I'm blending records how more traditionally you would with records or with whatever, cutting off the bass and bringing the highs. Man, it sounds so different. It sounds, the shit that I can do with stems is just so clean in that blend, and blending those two songs, you can't tell that one song's transitioning to the next. It's just, it's such, I didn't think it was going to change the way I DJ'd. When everybody was talking about it, oh, this changes everything. It really fucking did.
It's really cool. Yeah, I use it just to like take out the acapella and then blend it into the song. But I want to learn, or maybe y'all could teach me after we done recording. But I want to learn how to map it into like my board, either my Pioneer or
there's like an option where you just reassign a certain button.
No, I have a SRT.
Okay.
I think you can remap it.
Because the way I do it, I'm still doing it on the computer.
Like you showed me how.
Yeah. So it may, because it's different with every controller. I believe they should be able to, because I think they put it across all platforms or all controllers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You just go into your settings, and then the first page.
Yeah.
I think it's like one of the bottoms. It goes replace.
Stems with like
replace such with stems, and it's rather your loop,
slicer,
or whatever's available,
whatever button you want from there,
or sampler.
Okay.
So whatever subfolder of effect, or for the pads, subfolder of pads, it'll change one. So mine normally is on the S11. It's the slip mode. On the S9, it's my roll, which I fucking hate because I like to have my jump cues. I like to be able to jump.
I use slicer.
Because I don't ever use it normally. But on the S11, it doesn't do that.
You have it on roll?
I have it on roll because I just don't use roll. Like I think if I'm gonna like loop something, I do it manually.
Yeah. But the roll, the thing that I hate that I can't use about it when it takes over that on the S9 is that you can't use the jumps. The little jump, do you ever use those where you jump? So
I'm like, I'm not jumping anybody, bro.
No, like so if you're playing a track, say you blend in a little later than you want, or you want to have a little bit more of a cut phrase, or time for a cut, you can press that, you choose your option of beats, 4, 8, 16, 32, whatever, and you can jump back and forth as much as you want. So I use that a lot on doing that when I'm trying to make a mix longer, or I need to jump back, or I want to repeat. Say if there's a phrase that I missed that I didn't loop, I'll jump back 32 or 16 beats.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Turn off the acapella or turn off the vocal, turn the vocal back on right before I know it's going to hit, and press the loop, and then I'll if it's like a put your hands up or the
man, you are busy. You're busy. That sounds busy.
Yeah. If you ever come and see me, please do. Just watch my hands, and it's not even a braggy thing. I'm always, unless it's a really slow day. If I'm in the
zone.
If I'm in the zone, I'm moving every 2 seconds. And people are like, dude, you move a lot. Like your hands are moving. I was like, dude, it's just natural now, so there's not a lot I'm thinking about. Whenever it just kind of comes out after, what is it? Your 10,000 hours. I put in, 20, 30, 40, 50,000 hours in this shit. I've been doing it for so long.
That was one thing that like I said, I was so shocked when I saw you, because you showed me a whole different level of DJing without teaching me. When I went to go see you, because I was,
we watched you, we learned.
Yeah, because like coming from San Antonio, like I've told you this before, like how tough it was from my perspective to get on with other DJs and get plugged in and have a crew.
They do not.
And so a lot of the stuff I learned on my own. So at that time, I was still with the play this, drop it on the one, or blend it. My shit was like super basic.
Yeah.
And so when I watched you again, this was in my early months, like just living here, I was just like, I didn't know you could do that. I didn't know you could do that. That's what that button's for. Oh shit. And all this is in my head, and I'm just watching you do your thing flawlessly. And I'm like, whoa, okay. I got, all right. Okay. I'm going to take this home. So, man, that was one thing that like I said, one thing that stood out about you when I first saw you is like how much you use everything on the screen and on the controller.
Thank you.
You know what I mean?
Appreciate it. the cocky me wants to say, yeah, because they got all my sons out here. That's why they learned it from me. They all my sons.
Whenever
that's the battle me talking. I appreciate that very much, though. That's very kind of you.
Yeah.
I'm glad that comes across.
Whenever you're playing, do you ever have to tell yourself like? Because I know like even like yesterday, it was so slow, but I feel like me and you are kind of similar in the sense of like we gotta like stay busy to
do
like,
something.
Like do something because like for me like I don't even think about it. It just happens. I'm just touching something. I always have to. And then
you guys are definitely busy on the.
And with the drumming,
the
it's like I don't need to do it, but I'm just like.
No, I love it when you do it because you just look up and you not that you look bored, but you're like you'll look up and you have this look on your face that's like fuck y'all don't even understand what I'm doing as I'm tapping on the table. But no, it's very much that I kind of have to. I just let it kind of happen, but I'm always touching something.
Yeah.
And
do you ever tell yourself like, all right, we could chill. Let's slow down. Like, do you ever have to tell yourself that sometimes?
Yeah. And I'll still touch stuff even if it's not doing anything.
Yeah.
Like for y'all to hear, I'm touching like all my shift and parameter right on both sides and parameter left is my sync on and off. So, I use sync. Ooh. So just for y'all to know, I do not care. But just to preface, the sync that I use is not snap to grid. I don't use that at all. It's just to keep the BPMs.
It's just the same.
That's it. But yeah, I do that all the time. Yeah. You watch my hand. You look at my parameter button. It's wore the fuck out.
I want to come back to that topic later.
Yeah,
the sync stuff. I really do.
But yeah. So no, I'm always moving my hands. I'm always touching something.
Yeah.
Because if not, man, I do. He's right. I get fucking bored. I get bored, or I'm like, I don't want to look. I know it all depends on where they put you as a DJ. Like when I'm at Clive on Mondays and Fridays, I'm inside right when you walk in to the right, and so I'm inside. I'm kind of in the cut, just right in there. I'm not on a stage. I don't have a screen behind me. I'm not at my La Vida and all that stuff. Yeah. So I'm not having to put on a show. Diss to it. I don't get that. I don't get those big stages like that as often. So when I'm in the cut, I'm real clean. I kind of keep it simple.
Right.
If I catch people watching, which will happen, it sounds so cocky to say it happens a lot. But it does, and it's super fucking weird. Because they'll just stare at you.
Yeah,
real hard.
They're trying to figure out what
you're doing, and I get kind of creeped out every time. I get a little creeped out every time. I'm like, all right, cool. Just say something to me. Say hi or something. Say something to me. But when I start seeing that, I used to have a real bad tendency to just start cutting a bunch and showing off. And I'm like, nah. And I learned it from Boy Genius and a few others. It's like, no, man, I'm playing. I'm in the cut.
Yeah.
I'm just keep doing my job. That's why they're watching you. Just do it. You don't have to overly go and juggle.
You put it on the show for them.
Yeah.
Well, because I started realizing, I was like, man, I don't want to do, dance monkey dance type shit. Like anytime anybody comes around to watch or film, it's like, all right. Or, have people walk up to me and go, yo, so cut, do that thing. I was like, dude, one, where's my money? Two, it's like, no, it doesn't fit what I'm doing right now. Not even changing song structures or genres or anything. It's just like, no, there's no need for me to cut on top of Dua Lipa right now while I'm playing at Clive for all these white folks at this point in time during the day.
True.
Not that it's all white people there, but during that portion when those people walk in, it's like, all right, let me stick to this. Like
we cater to the demographic.
Yeah, and also the tough thing about Clive, and I love the staff, love everybody there, and I love playing there. The toughest thing about it is just the structure of the venue.
Yeah.
Because I'm on the bottom floor. It's a 3. If you haven't been to Austin,
it was Container Bar, right?
No. Container was across the street. Same ownership. Same ownership as Luster.
Lost.
Yeah, Luster Pearl, Container, and Clive are all the same company.
Right.
Dunlap, I believe. Really, really great ownership. I love them. And but Clive is a 3-story venue.
Yeah.
So you have us on the bottom, which I'm inside. And we have a giant backyard. This is for the people that have never been. The second story is kind of like a large mezzanine. So you can kind of see all around and see over kind of the pit area where the backyard is.
Yeah.
Then the third story, you can't see down into the dance portion on the first floor, but you can see over. It's a big old balcony. You can see everything.
Yeah.
It's a big old area. But everybody on a Friday, because I play early set. I love early sets. 4 to 9.
That's when you know you're getting older.
Man, listen, I'd rather do a day set than a club set.
Oh my God.
100%.
Are we all in agreement on that? Oh my
I think
God.
so.
I think so, yeah.
Day parties is where it's at.
Yeah.
Thank God I don't feel like a fucking bum saying that.
No,
man.
I was driving back from Houston. Me and my wife were talking, and she was like, "Don't take this the wrong way." And I was like, I told you, don't tell me
You're
my
already
set
like,
was good.
what are you gonna
and if
say?
it wasn't, she was like, no, it's not that. She was like, I just don't think clubs are for you. And I was like, I've always been told that.
She said that?
Yeah, she was like, I just think.
How did you take that?
I actually agreed with her.
Okay. It's
a
Because
hard thing to hear.
I've always
It
been
is.
I've always been told that since the beginning. They're like, you are so much better private events, day parties, stuff like that, getting people ready to go to club.
Well,
but
that
the
doesn't
club
mean
is,
you won't be good at a club, though. I think you are. I
The
think
thing
you're
is
great,
that
but
it's just for.
I feel offended for you. I don't know why.
I
No,
almost
the-
get offended. I almost
The
get
thing
offended
is,
for it.
They're like,
the thing is,
"I'm
as
good."
the thing is, as much as I personally wanted to be at the clubs, because everybody always asks you, everybody, man, what club are you going to be at? Da, da, da. I still get asked, are you still playing at Mala? Are you still playing at Mala? And shout out to Gabby, love what she's done for the city. But at the same time, I'm like, guys, Mala is not the only thing I
Yeah.
do. And it's like, if
Yeah.
you don't play at Mala, then what are you doing? It's like, hold on. So you see where people's minds are at. And so I
Yeah.
told Jess, I was like, I actually do have more fun at day parties. Now, the once a month that I do at Mala, it's perfect for me.
Right.
But every single night at a club setting for what I'm trying to do
It
and
takes a toll.
be healthier and
I
go
could-
to work out, I'm like, I
Yeah.
can't
I
come
work-
home at 3 a.m. anymore, you know?
Yeah, I work a lot with, not with, straight up with, but we work for the same company and things like that. But I work with CRG here in
Okay,
town.
yeah.
And you know, and I think we're close to the same age. I think he's younger, but he came up in San Antonio as
Yeah.
well. But I always say, because he's done some great things very quickly here in Austin for that company and for the places that he's at. But I've told my fiance as well. Shout out my love. And
Peace, baby, peace.
I know she's getting some sleep hanging out with my cats right now, or our cats. But it's got to be fucking exhausting because he does Key Bar, I think twice. He does some stuff at Summit. He'll do the Sunday party over at Parlor Room, and a lot of the stuff that he has, they put promotion behind it. He has a following and things that he's built over the years here. But it's a lot of fucking people, and it's more of not a club because we don't have more traditional clubs here in Austin as
Right.
much. We're more bars, semi-club, outdoor kind of thing. But he has their club style sets and a lot of people. Dude, I can't imagine having to do that every night.
Yeah.
Because he plays a lot. He doesn't. I do more shows, but I'm playing a lot earlier in the week, slower shows. You know, I only have Tuesdays off.
And you feel better though, like finishing early
healthy. I feel more healthy. I don't know how he does it, and shout out to him, but I just don't know how I can't. I'm 36.
Yeah.
And so I've also, again, I've DJed for 16 years. I've played everything and anything you can think for the most part. Yeah. You know, not to sound cocky or anything like that, but I've played in, you know, I did a small stint in Chicago when I got invited. I was very lucky after Nationals opened up a lot when I did in 2017. And when I was I was out of my element when I was in Chicago, and I fucking know it. And I'm very, very thankful that Rudy and them booked me out there, and I got to experience it. But to me personally, I flopped when I was out there. In my mind, I wasn't ready for.
Well, we're always our own worst critics.
Yes, yeah.
So I'm pretty
Very.
sure you did great.
Yeah, I tried my best.
Yeah.
I did, and it was a weird thing of traveling out there, and I forgot to fucking send a rider, so I didn't realize any of this shit to tell him what gear I needed or anything. I just fucking assumed, right, like an idiot. And so I get out there, and I played kind of, but I'd never really used CDJs.
Oh.
And I was like, all right, I can deal with this.
Sure.
It's just a turntable.
Like a
I don't
controller.
I don't need to use all the other bells and whistles. The big issue was the 900. I've never fucking used it or connected to a 900.
Yeah.
Right. So
It's a different beast.
yeah, so I did it. So we get off the flight. I was with one of my exes at the time, and we fly out there, and we show up we get to the hotel. Right when we get there, we change right away and have to go straight to the gig right after the flight. And so we get there, and I'm hopping right on, and the bar's in front of us. We're almost behind the bar in this like window. It's really kind of cool how they had it. So we were kind of set back. People couldn't get to us. Yeah. But I do that set, and I'm literally playing from my computer because it reads the 900, but it doesn't read the CDJs at all. So I'm just playing just from my fucking computer. And so I wasn't prepared to play clubs like that. By the end of that week that I was there, I kind of got used to it. I had borrowed was it the SP1 by Serato by Pioneer with the pads?
Oh yeah. The one that's got like tons of them, or just like a few? Because there's
just a few. It was basically your cue points for if you had a 900.
Yeah.
So I tried to use that for a little while. It worked. But I was just thrown to the wolves, and I was like, man, this is really difficult. And even the music, when I finally got used to it, I got to play on an S9 at the time. Even when I did that, I was like, all right, man, it's a different beast. And then when I traveled later on in that year, and I played in San Diego, I felt so old. I was playing at La Chingona, and I fucking love it over there. Those guys are great. I want to come back and all that stuff, but I'm playing, I think it was like a Sunday night or something like that at La Chingona, and El Chingona?
There's both.
Yeah. Is there both?
Yeah.
They're both? Okay.
Yeah. Like in Dallas, they have El Chingon, and then they have La Chingona in Fort Worth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that company, so I played for them out there, and the lighting guy goes, man, I didn't know it was going to be like old school night. I go, what? What'd you say? He goes, oh, I didn't know it was like old school night. Like you're playing a lot of old school jams, man. Like I really enjoy this shit. And I'm like, fuck, man, this is my club set.
Yeah.
Shit. All right.
No, wrong one. Where's the fucking laugh button?
I think it.
You're gonna have to label those a little sharply. Get your color coding right on our new things. Clubs are fucking difficult. They're weird. Yeah. For me personally, my opinion on them, and again, this isn't for everybody, but like for me, I feel like it's way more structured as far as what you're allowed to play. Not even by ownership or GMs, the fucking crowd.
Oh yeah.
You're like I've talked to a lot of people here in town, and nobody will really say for the most part that ownership or GMs are dictating what we can play.
Right.
At least where I'm at on Rainy. I happened to a buddy of mine recently, and I was like, you're getting micromanaged right now? And he goes, yeah. And I won't say where, but I was just like, that's not what this place used to be. Yeah. Like, what the fuck?
That's happened to me somewhat recently.
And you could just fucking tell. When I was watching him play, you could just tell he was not happy.
Yeah.
And he was trying, but he was doing what they were telling him. And I was like, fuck that. But no, what we get is, the crowd will dictate.
Yeah.
If they want to hear this, and this, it's a lot of, people have talked about it a lot, but it's the algorithm, of Spotify and shit like that.
Do you think it's important though for somebody to still DJ at a club to get that?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
That experience.
Yeah. You need to, because you don't know it's not for you unless you do it and you realize it's not for you.
Yeah.
It was for me in my younger years. I had more energy at that time, and we'll get into it because you wanted to talk about it. I was drinking at that time.
Yeah.
I was on drugs or doing cocaine. Put it that way. I was doing a lot of that stuff. So I was more in that realm of that world. Not that that's what that is, but it put me hyper into it.
Right.
And so I was cool with it. Now, even when I go out now, if I go out, with my fiance and stuff, we're going out to bars and stuff and hopping around. I don't have that same fucking energy. Yeah. My knees don't work the way they used to anymore.
Oh, I know that.
I'll try to go out dancing. I was like, man, I can't even dance like RLE no more.
Like RLE can't dance like RLE could back in the.
No, so like with me, and I'm about a year and 2 months sober now.
Congratulations,
thank
man.
you.
Yeah, man, good for you. That deserves a clap. Hey,
thank you.
Yeah, man.
But getting sober, it changed a lot. Like my thought process of one, I believe I play better. Okay. I play more structured. I know what I'm doing. I know when to switch genres. I know when to calm it down, bring it up. Way more than I already knew that. But when I would drink and stuff like that, it's happened to a lot of us at our gigs. At one point in time, we start out real strong and we're having a good night.
Yeah.
And because we're having a good night, we're getting fed a lot of drinks by
That's
people
true.
or ownership or GMs or whatever. It's a celebratory thing. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So by the end of your gig, you sound like fucking trash.
I know.
Like I've heard recordings and I'm like, yeah. No.
Let me ask you something right now that you mentioned that you're during this sobriety journey, you feel like you can think better and etc. So let me ask you this: how has your relationship with music changed now that you're sober? Like, have you noticed any differences in your creative process? I know you mentioned you think clear, but like, what does that look like?
I play a lot heavier of how I feel.
Yeah.
Especially at the beginning. So at the beginning, I
So
was
you're more expressive.
very, very expressive in my first hour. Anywhere I play my first hour, super expressive, experimental, not far off the wall, but experimental in the sense of I'm going to see what this crowd will take in.
Right.
So I'm playing, you know, a lot of the new like Tyler the Creator's album, like Don't Call Me If You Get Lost. You know, playing a lot of slower Chance the Rapper, like Highs and Lows, which all these things have these messages. You know, so I play a lot of heavy messaging in my song, in my music selection. And I was talking to somebody recently about it at one of the bars. I play a lot more happy and not upbeat as far as tempo, but upbeat as far as feeling.
Feel good shit.
There you go. Yeah. So I play a lot more feel good, happy shit.
Right.
And the reason is because that's where my mind is.
Right.
You know, when I get into, you know, I never really played a lot of trap music, trap hip hop or anything like that. A lot of gun toting, drug talk. The most drug talk stuff I play is Mac Miller. You know, and that's because that's my guy. And I'm through that stuff. Through his stuff, I get so excited. Through his stuff, I've learned and all these things. But like popping Molly and popping Percocet, that kind of stuff that was going on with like Future and stuff for a little while. I didn't like it at that time either. I think just the messaging's real negative. You know, if you like it, all for you. But like me having I call it having a megaphone. If I'm on stage and if somebody gives me a megaphone, I don't want to spew out a little, you know that more self-loathing, self-hurt kind of thing. Now I want people to be more, you know, and I've gotten told, you know, a lot of things, and I hate the verbiage of it, like it's a vibe, like what you do is a vibe, man, like this shit's a whole vibe. And I was like, I wish there was another word, man.
So do you think your music selection and the way the audience receives your
Performance.
your performance now is better, or do you think it's still kind of the same?
It's deeper. I think the way people take it in now, especially people that I've known, take it in a lot more.
Like they understand it more. Especially the people that know you, I suppose, right? And so if there's a person that doesn't know you, let's say they're coming in from out of town, they go into Placeholder, it's the first hour that you go in there, what are they going to experience?
Ooh, first hour Placeholder, let's say like a Sunday or a Saturday. Man, you're a lot of not throwbacks, but more of kind of like touching base of you're gonna get to know who I am.
I see.
And it's not even really on purpose. It's just kind of what I do. That first hour is kind of my introduction every time, anywhere I play for the most part of who I am. Especially if we're gonna have people, especially if I'm put out in the on the front patio and I'm facing the street and you can see me.
Yeah.
If I play that same day at Placeholder and I'm inside, I play differently. Just being 10 feet away. And so because I'm on display, I'm showing you a lot more of who I am by what I'm playing. And also like because the times that I play, me and Arlie just switched recently because I'm doing the pool brunch, but I would play 6 to 10 on Saturdays and 2 to 6 on Sundays. And for me, during that time, it is not time for you to pop a Percocet to shake that wop, all these things,
Shake that wop.
You know.
Can you shake them?
Yeah, you can shake it. It shakes it. But it's an air dry.
He just shook his wop over there.
But you do that, and but for me, I'm trying to set a mood and a tone for a place. So what we've done at Placeholder is just it's a really fun and upbeat vibe of what we play. Yeah. I think me and Ray, we play a lot of the same stuff. Yeah. Like same vibe-esque of what we're trying to do.
It's funny because like when we had the switch times, I'd be coming in, this dude's just dropping some dope shit, and I'm like, man, how am I gonna follow this up? And it was always like that. I'm like, all right, let me see if I can keep the vibe going without, he's got like, a couple people in there. So it's like, I was like, don't lose these people.
I don't want to lose them.
Yeah, when I played after you at South by, I was like, man, how the fuck am I gonna follow this?
Really?
Yeah, seriously.
It's trying to keep that energy with the same type of like the music. Like for me, like that's one thing that I think I appreciate the most about you is that you stay true to yourself. And like the music that you play, it's like, fuck, like I wish I could play that. But then like in my head, I start thinking like,
it's exactly what we talked about last episode.
Are people gonna like judge me for playing not the typical top 40 shit, and you know, hanging around you more and playing after you. I've just told myself, I'm like, look, I want to play the shit that I want to play, that I think is good, that'll keep people here, whether they're dancing, whether they're like hanging out in their seats, like shaking their wallet, I guess.
You're gonna make me cry over here.
But no, I mean, dude. Oh, so the door guy at Clive, one that brings his little.
Oh, Troy?
Yeah,
Troy, that's my boy. Shout out Troy.
Bro, me and Troy were going on like this whole like conversation just about like, it's funny because like about how much we appreciate you. And I was like, yeah, man. I was like, he just does his thing and people fuck with it. And like, he was bringing up the $100 request or
yeah. Shout out Boy Genius for the $100 request sticker.
So, but I mean, I think just staying true to yourself is like one of the biggest things that I've learned, just being around you and just like
I appreciate
playing
it,
the shit that's cool.
I've tried. It's definitely not on purpose, per se. Like it wasn't pre-thought out. Like I'm just gonna do me, fuck everybody. Yeah. I wish I had that fucking mentality. I don't in particularly care what crowds think about me, especially where I'm at, like on Rainy. Because after all these years there, I understand that street, and at least in my viewpoint is, I'm never gonna lock anybody in here all night fucking long.
That's a really important thing to realize.
There's no way it's gonna happen. Clive, anywhere I freaking play. When I was playing at Bungalow, nothing. You understand that there's a lot less now, but there's 20, 30 bars, 15, 20 bars on the street. I always try when I play, I try to put myself in the mindset of a patron, somebody that doesn't know me. Or anything, or just somebody.
Or it's like their first time on radio.
Yeah, coming out.
Yeah.
You want to fucking see everything. So my goal is to try to keep you as long as I can.
Right.
Yeah. But I'm reading the crowds. I'm playing stuff that I enjoy, that I know. I play a lot of music that what Boy Genius would say you lived with. I lived with this music. So that's when people see me when I DJ with no headphones all the time. They're like, "Fucking how?" I was like, I know these songs.
I know my music.
I know this shit like the back of my fucking hand, man. Like I can go take a piss. I know what verse we're on. I know I got this much time.
Yeah.
And I did it yesterday. I walk up, I go take a pee, and I walk back in and just walk casually. And right when I walk through, because I have all my plants and shit that I like up there, I walk right through my plants and I go right up
barricade.
and walk. It is a barricade, and I walk right to the turntable, right from peeing, go and pop in the next track, and it blends. And these people behind like, what the fuck? Where did you just come from? And I was like, I have this stuff set up. It's here. But no, I always try to play what makes me happy, because if it's not going to make me happy, why the fuck am I doing it? I played quinces. I played I played funerals. I played every kind of. I played every.
You DJ'd my brother's wedding.
Oh yes, I did. That's right.
Yeah, he DJ'd my brother's wedding.
I've DJ'd every event and everything you can fucking think of. I've always said yes to everything. It's kind of my goal early on was to be kind of a jack of all trades, but I wanted to be extremely dope in all realms of styling of DJing that I could do. Yeah. And that way, I figured, I was like, all right, if I do that, I can play anything, which it benefited me now. I think it benefits because I've been playing for 16 years, still staying consistent and still and still making money and making a living. I mean, I have the biggest shows, or what is it, a marquee with my name on it and all this shit. I don't need it anymore. Personally.
Do you feel fulfilled as a DJ?
I do. Yeah. I mean, Ice-T said it recently. I saw it on an Instagram reel. Where Ice-T referenced what Rakim says some of y'all need the shine. I don't need it because I already got the light.
Right. That's right.
Yeah. And it's like, I already know. I'm at a point now. I know, and I say that meaning I know what I've done. I know what I've proven. Like, I have a lot more to prove. I'm always wanting to prove more and more that I can be that top tier. I can be what that level with Zach and Espinoza and what my gods are,
right?
Which are super kind and sweet people too. I got to talk to Espinoza during South by for like 30 minutes.
Yeah,
nicest fucking guy I've ever met.
I was shocked. And I went up to him. I talked to him for like maybe 30 seconds.
Nicest.
I say I'm a fan.
Yeah,
I'll be hanging out with them in San Antonio on the 25th.
Yeah.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah. No, I talk to them anytime I meet any of those guys. I don't talk anything about DJing.
Yeah.
I just talk about life. I ask them about their kids, their wives, their families. Oh, they're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I care about you. Not just, I know the other shit. That's cool. care about
I see
you.
what you do.
Yeah. Because I like getting in people's minds more.
Yeah.
And understanding them as humans and how they deal with this throughout all it, and then the struggles and the hardships in their head.
And that's why we want you here, because we want to know you.
So I want to pivot to something. So we're talking about like how you talk to DJs, you know, about their personal experiences, because we already see what they could do. We see what you do. And it's amazing how much stuff you've been able to accomplish on your own. And so with that said, what was that turning point for you? Because I don't think a lot of people still know that you are on this journey of sobriety. And bringing you on, that was one of the things I had asked you about, is if there's anything sensitive that you don't want to talk about, we'll leave that out. But we definitely want to know your journey. Like, what was that like? What has this been like for you? And what was the turning point for you?
It was last South by, not this recent one, but the one last year, 2022. So I put on a lot of shows every South by. I'm very passionate about it. My goal was always, because it happened for me here, and it's through Abe and through TSL, that they allowed a platform for me to be a part of and to speak and to make my own way. Them and shout out Mike of Mischief Magazine, Old School Mischief Magazine, Dirty Bills. I reached out to him during a South by, and I wanted to put on for his Mischief party that he did at Parlor Room. And I mean, when I say I sat there and I worked on that set for, you know, my ex-fiance was pissed because I didn't want to go anywhere during South by. I wanted to work on this set, and I only had an hour set. But so my goal during South bys are to create an atmosphere and to create a place where I can let people play. And I book only DJs.
Thank you, by the way.
No problem. Not only DJ, I like booking artists and things too. We actually have a hip hop showcase on the 26th at Placeholder. We have a lot of great artists from Dallas Fort Worth area that are coming in town. That is really cool. But I would put on these shows during South by at different venues, but mainly at Placeholder. I did it at Parlor Room and stuff too. But doing that, it's about 11 days, right? About 10 days roughly of actual being there. And every day is from about 11 a.m. to about 3 a.m. And I'm at the bar all day.
Eesh.
I'm on that street all day. So last year I was taking care of 3 bars at certain times, mainly 2, but about 3 bars. And they were all on the same street and a few other places too. And I remember before that hit, I was drinking obviously already as far as in my daily life or work, but I was also using cocaine a lot and things like that. And for that, I remember I hit up my dealer and I was like, yo, I got a long week. And I just bought a shit ton of bags of coke. And I was like, and for me, it wasn't because I wanted to be high, because I wanted to fucking feel good and I'm partying. Hell no. I was doing that shit to survive in my mind. And that was my reasoning for it. I was like, I need this in order to get through all my shit and get through all these gigs and get through these late nights and be all right. And it was a detriment to it. It was hurting it. And I had gone through a lot of bad downward spirals through it. I wasn't in therapy or anything at the time. So I was battling a lot of shit. My parents dealt with a lot, where I would call them on long trips and I'm just letting everything out. And I'm like sad. I was suicidal at the time. Over the years, I suffer from depression. I have real bad crowd anxiety too, surprisingly. I have a tough time being in big crowds, in the middle of them. But by the end of that South by, it was like I had spent about $1,000 on cocaine in 1 week.
Man.
Spent about $1,000 on it, but after South by had happened, I thought it's like, all right, it's gonna stop. No, I didn't slow down. I just kept going. So it was becoming week after week of $700-800 a week in cocaine.
Wow.
And then on top of that, I was with a buddy of mine, and we both did it and did bumps every now and then, whatever. So I did it, and I took the wrong bag, and it ended up being ketamine, and I liked it way too much. Like I remember standing there, I was like, man, I've done some coke, but man, this shit feels good. And he's like, what bag did you do? And I was like, well, that one, the one that had more in it, because I didn't want to use up that one. He's like, that's the wrong bag, man. And I go,
oh
fuck.
My God.
So about a month after that, I was using ketamine when I could get it. You know, I was trying to be smart, not do it too much, but I was getting, I mean, and there was a point where I went to a gig, I went to a venue that one morning because I played there that night before, and a guy showed up. The place was locked up and we were waiting for somebody, and he showed up. This random guy showed up. He was an artist, and he's like, yeah, I've come to pick up some of my paintings, whatever. And he goes, hey man, you want to take a bump? This is like 11 in the morning. And I was like, fuck it. Yeah. He goes, well, but it's, you know, it's Special K. And I was like, fuck it, let's go. And 11, and at that point, like I was just doing this shit because I was like, oh, this is how I function and I run. And I just wasn't healthy. I didn't look healthy. I didn't feel healthy. I felt worn down. My spirit wasn't happy. I didn't, you know, and I had one really bad night and a blowout with my fiance that I had a real bad downward spiral, and I have a lot of love and a lot of respect for her. And I owe her a lot for sticking with me through my sobriety and through me getting clean and everything. I have a very wonderful and loving partner, and I'm very, very fucking lucky.
That's good, man.
I don't think I wouldn't be able to be where I'm at and be sober if I didn't have her kind of by my side.
Yeah.
You know, we all have our tough times and things like that, but still, it's like I'm glad I had somebody to come home to and a partner that cared.
Yeah.
But yeah, once that happened, and then when place had gotten rid of my GM, you know, for no reason, and that what we felt was no reason, like I just had a real bad downward spiral that night. I tried to burn the place down. Damn. I was at a gig. I was at my gig playing, and I fucking was setting trash cans on fire.
Holy shit.
Yeah, nobody was there. It was dead, and it was just me and the staff, but I was setting trash cans on fire, they kept trying to put them out, and I was just screaming and yelling, and I got kicked out of like 3 Ubers that night. You know, my fiance kicked me out of the house. I kept coming back, you know, like I jumped out the Uber and you know, wanted to go back because I just wanted to be in a comfortable place.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted to just be on the couch. I just wanted to be around her.
This is on ketamine?
This was on coke at this time.
Because
ketamine, I just go into a hole. I get like sluggish.
Right, because
all right, we did.
In the emergency room, we use ketamine to
I was gonna ask what that is.
So ketamine,
it's like a horse tranquilizer,
it's a dissociative medication.
Okay.
You kind of like get out of your body, sort of. We use it to, like, when somebody walks in with a dislocated shoulder, dislocated hip, whatever, any joints, we give them ketamine, and they just kind of like they're not in the body, essentially.
Shit.
Yeah, you feel it from what I can remember, because it's been a while. You feel a little bit out of it, and for me, I remember the first time ever, and I was on top of a wood plated floor at a bar, and you could just feel it like sinking. Like everything you walked was like this, just moving, and it kind of felt like a weird, one of those weird rooms like at a carnival.
Oh, like just a fun room or something? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Felt fucking fantastic. But don't fucking do it, because it gets super, super addicting. And so when I had that bad night, like I just had I'm super, super hyper self-aware.
Yeah.
And even during those times, I knew that what the drugs I was doing were bad for me.
Right.
And I knew it wasn't great. So for me, I was like, all right. And so that kind of hit a point. I didn't get an ultimatum from my fiance to where like I got sober for her, because you should never get sober for somebody else. You need to do it for yourself. But her stuff just really opened my eyes, and I talked to my parents a lot, and I just made the choice. And shout out to my good buddy Justin, who's been with me for a while. He's the one that got me into AA. And it was real crazy. I was talking to my baby brother about it recently, soon after I got sober, and he's like, I'm glad you did. He goes, we've been trying to get you in AA forever. And I go, what? He goes, yeah, anytime that we would mention AA or anything, you would just get pissed. And I go, I don't even remember you mentioning it over the years. And because I thought it was like my own idea kind of thing. I was like, yeah, I got to hear it by myself. But no, it was just a crazy journey, and just it took a big toll over time. You know, to each his own on what you do. I don't recommend it. I also don't think that everybody needs to be sober as far as drinking and things like that. If you can control it and all that stuff, by all means, and you can do it responsibly and not hurt anybody around you, absolutely. I just knew when I drank, it opened up. You know, what I saw a meme the other day that said I love when the taste of beer, or I love when beer starts tasting like, oh, I need to order my bag. And it's like,
wow.
Yeah. And I was like, dude, that's fucking true. It would hit. So I'm not fortunate, but I'm very happy that my sobriety journey, I'm I'm very vocal about it, and I kind of have to be held accountable because I try to get sober a bunch of times in secret. Failed every time after a week because like nobody knows, nobody's gonna hold me to it.
So do you feel like being out there with it or public with it, you kind of feel like you have to stay sober so you won't let us down?
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
Absolutely. It not only do I motivate myself because I don't want to let my family down or anything, but it kind of happened not knowing. I didn't know this was going to happen, but because I was so vocal about it originally at work because I wanted the entire staff of everywhere I work to know I'm sober. Do not fucking serve me.
No, I think that's super important though.
Yeah.
Yep. And not only because it's like, not to where like I go up and I order a drink. That's on fucking me.
Yeah.
But they're so kind and they take care of you at these bars, right? Yeah. That I was, every show, 4-hour show, I would have at least, this is how crazy it was. During a 4-hour show, at least one bag of Coke, easy. But then at least a 50 pack, a $50 bag, in 1 to 2 of those in a show, in a 4-hour show. Damn. But not only that, it was 4 to 8 doubles of whiskey a night.
Damn.
Wow.
That was on a regular. And I DJ 8 shows a week. I DJ 6 days a week. 8
Did you
shows
ever have any medical complications? Like, was there any almost near death experiences? Like, I don't know about this stuff.
No,
I mean, you can educate
I'll tell you
me
what
on it
though,
too.
like at work, because I work in the emergency room and ICU, so I see people from one stage to the other. When I've had people that go in from poly substance abuse, like they've done all these things and they're trying to sober up and all this stuff, or at least right there and then, they don't have a lot of medical problems.
No.
They don't. You know who has a lot of medical problems?